Well, last question, because I know you have to go soon. But there was a quote that you said. You said, David Blaine said to me, and he said this publicly, that he believes the magician's job is to leave people believing things that aren't true. And you feel the exact opposite.
Exact opposite, yeah. I don't believe one of the most important things, other than kindness, that we can do in our lives is trying to understand the world around us. And I think that any time that I muddy that and confuse that for other people, it's a really dangerous thing. Now, those two tracks of magic in the 17th century, I should know the date, the first magic book, modern magic book, was published called The Discovery of Witchcraft. This is the first time a cat wrote down, these are tricks, man. First time, 17th century. Here's how you do this trick. Now, the tricks are shitty and they don't work, but it doesn't matter. Wrote down, here's how you do the trick. But the book is wicked pricey, by the way. If you want a first edition, it's a lot of money. And then there's this whole group of magicians, the most famous, Houdini, who said, listen, man, those are tricks. This is tricks, and it's not real. And then there were the spiritualists in Houdini's day that said, we don't care. People get a rush, they get a thrill, they think they're talking to their dead grandmother. Isn't that groovy? Boom, we're going to do this. And those two schools of thought in magic have gone side by side. And I like David Blaine, and we get along. He's a nice guy and really skilled. Please don't think I'm thinking anything against David Blaine. But philosophically, we disagree, because he thinks if you leave his show and you believe something that David Blaine knows isn't true, he thinks, wow, I've done my job. And if you leave a Penn and Teller show believing something that I know not to be true, I think, wow, I fucked up. Because I think that, and I know this is a naive statement. I know you're supposed to get over this when you're like 16, but I think truth really matters a lot.
Yeah, you've also said that all hypnotism is fake.
Yeah, I don't know that for sure. I've said that in a flippant way. We tried to do a bullshit show on hypnotism. We had a television show called Penn and Teller Bullshit.
Right.
It might have been a bullshit show, but it was also a show called Bullshit. My bullshit show called Bullshit. We tried to do a show on hypnotism, and I believe it's one of the worst shows we did because it's not cut and dry. Stage hypnosis, if you see it, at a fair or something, that's always jive. There's no doubt about that. But as far as the clinical stuff, the problem is, and this has been called by scientists the hard problem, is we don't really know what consciousness is. We haven't really decided or figured out or experimented with what it means to be conscious. If you get the spinning neurons firing together, you just feel that. Of course, it's a problem with implications everywhere, because with artificial intelligence, that's a bad term, but with artificial intelligence, it's called, we need to deal with what it means to be conscious. And with hypnosis, we're dealing with a very complicated set of things there. So the scientific answer is, I don't know. But stage hypnosis is pretty bullshitty.
Got it. Well, Penn Jillette, man, an amazing story. And as much as you like to downplay what you do as luck and so forth, there's an immense amount of work that went into being who you are and what you've accomplished, as well as just amazingly, you and Teller having a 50-year friendship that has stayed together this long. Listen, I've interviewed a lot of people. Like I interviewed Cheech. Him and Chong don't get along anymore. If there's a check, they'll show up. In general,
the only other group with a first name and a last name that I can think of in history, Cheech and Chong, Penn and Teller.
Exactly. And you guys are not in the same boat these days. Like, no. Cheech and Chong are not friends anymore, whereas you and Teller seem to have really maintained a friendship and a respect and a level of success consistently year after year. It's just amazing. And I think it really is inspirational.
We don't have any troubles. No. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. And definitely check out, the new book, Felony Juggler, available now.
Pleasure talking to you, man. Pleasure talking to you.
You as well. Peace.